Briahna Joy Gray fired from The Hill, apparently because of an October 7th interview with millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable. We just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show. We're going to break it down. Here it is.
I really do hope that Netanyahu agrees and Israel agrees to the ceasefire deal that could bring all the hostages, including your sister, home. And I'm sure many people watching are praying for her safety.
Thank you, me too. And I really hope that you specifically will believe women when they say that they got hurt.
All right, thanks for joining. Stick around, more Rising coming up next.
Okay, that's part of it. Now, prior to this clip, Gray had to correct the record multiple times during the interview. Now, I'm going to play this and then we'll get into the rest of it. Here it is.
I think the question is so many other hostage families who've been protesting Netanyahu seem to believe that what would help their family members come home sooner is if Netanyahu would agree to a ceasefire and a hostage release deal to really prioritize what you're saying. Prioritize getting your sister home where she can be safe and have the medical attention it seems that she very much needs.
You're very right, but sometimes throughout those deals, we saw that Hamas wasn't agreeing anything at all.
The Times just reported this morning that Biden said, quote, "There's every reason for people to draw the conclusion that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is prolonging the war for his own political self-preservation." This is after Biden's speech at the end of last week was met with statements from Israeli government officials saying that there wasn't an agreement about this hostage deal on the part of Israel and that there was a gap between what Biden represented and what they would agree to. And after months of Netanyahu and members of his administration saying that the goal was to eliminate Hamas and that he would not agree to a ceasefire and hostage exchange deal, until that happened. Now this seems to be Joe Biden saying again that what is obstructing the ceasefire process that could allow your sister to come home and get the food and get the medicine and get the care that she needs and to live in safety is being obstructed by Benjamin Netanyahu. Do you feel like he's putting his own personal political goals ahead of prioritizing hostage release?
I really see that you want to talk political things, and this is not my profession. I'm saying right now that we have an Israeli deal on the table and we're waiting for Hamas to say yes.
Unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be the case. I wish that it were.
She's citing proper sources from the White House. The contextualization is proper. The narrative is fitting. And she's being just as political as the guest. We're talking about policies, international policies that lead to a hostage being released. I don't see how one is political in nature and the guest is not. These are political dynamics. So there was pushback. Here it is.
What did my sister did wrong? Nothing. Nothing. We did nothing wrong.
Well,
this was happening inside our own country. Yeah. And if the world won't help us, we will see 9/11 the second time in the US as well. But we can already see in the United States, in Michigan, rallies that's calling death to America, not condemning terror organizations in Israel or any other place. In fact, is reflecting to your country as well.
I'm just going to push back against the implication that in Michigan, which has the largest Muslim and Arab population in America, that there is any threat of terrorism from our own people. And I would like to clarify also that one of the rationale that was presented for 9/11 was discussed with America's support of Israel's continued occupation of Palestine.
Yeah, that part. Let's get into it. Put it up. So 2 days after that, she's fired. 2 days after the interview posted, Gray announced her termination from The Hill on X. Quote, "It finally happened. The Hill has fired me." There should be no doubt that Rising the Hill, that's at Rising the Hill, has a clear pattern of suppressing speech, particularly when it's critical of the state of Israel. This is why they fired. She names another person. And it was only a matter of time before they fired me. You can continue to follow me at, and she put a Patreon page there. She also provided the notice of termination. And it says, in reference, Briahna Joy Gray, notice of contract termination. Dear Briahna Joy, this is 30 days written notice that your consulting services agreement is being terminated pursuant to the provisions of Section 5.3 for convenience. Thank you for your contributions, and we wish the best in your future endeavors. Sincerely yours, Next Star Media Incorporated. Can we count the ways here? The vast majority of Israeli citizens agree with her. This is the irony of it. They agree that Netanyahu is a corrupt individual, that he is utilizing this proxy in order to create his own political reality and military might, and to continue the assault on Palestinians by saying he is simply coming after Hamas. He has no choice but to do these things. And I remind you every time, if Hamas was hiding in Israel, do you think he would kill Israelis indiscriminately to get to Hamas? And the answer collectively is, of course, he would not. She also cited sourcing directly from the White House, and she corrected a record that was levied against Americans in Michigan, for those who are exercising their religious freedom. Former colleague Cristobal responded to the news. Cristobal said, quote, "Yet another person fired for daring to support Palestinian humanity. I have no doubt. Joy will continue to fight to find great success outside of corporate media, but these attempts to silence pro-Palestine voices are meant to intimidate those who don't have breeze fortitude and ability to withstand the attacks." And I got to say this, I didn't even see it as that bias. I really didn't. It was humanitarian, absolutely, because you're dealing with significant warfare and carnage, death, murder. But I thought it was a balance to the rhetoric that was being spewed on the other side to make it seem as if Netanyahu just could not do much in order to make these things happen. There's more. We got another one. Mike Ferraro compared the number of leftist hosts Rising the Hill has fired to the number of right-wing hosts they've fired. That gives you a clue as to who's actually challenging power. Okay, let's go to it.
My name's Katie Halper. I'm the host of 2 YouTube shows and podcasts. One is called The Katie Halper Show. One is called Useful Idiots. And up until very recently, I was a weekly contributor to the show Rising, which is at The Hill. That relationship ended when I was censored and fired over a monologue I wrote about Rashad Tlaib and Israel being an apartheid state.
But it is. Like, do you know the definition of it? Why would you fire somebody for saying a fact? I don't think they hide that part, by the way. Okay, all right. So Gray would also post this. Let's put it up. This is the type of hate messages sent her way. Not going to platform these people except to point out that this is the tone of the average Zionist in my mention, blatant racism. Fundamentally, their approach in Gaza and is contingent on racial supremacy arguments, so it's not surprising. It says, just letting you know, if you and your family were all slaughtered, the people of Gaza would celebrate your deaths. Keep rolling eyes, N-word. You unemployed now. Remember this, Palestinians around and they're finding out. You did the same. You around and you found out. Ha ha ha. We've covered all instances of bigotry and racism. Remember last year? Last year we were on Indisputable together, defending our Jewish brothers and sisters against the accusations of Kanye, white supremacists on bridges, holding up signs. The students who are protesting, pro-Palestinian student groups and pro-Jewish student groups are in agreement. The vast majority of Israeli citizens are adversarial to the way their government, especially Netanyahu, has led this murderous attack. What am I missing here? All right, Mr. Mayor, thoughts?
I'm confused at what this woman was fired for. I mean, this is journalism. You push back on the false narratives being spewed in your air, or you're not responsible. So is the rising at Hill, is their objective to become Fox News? You just come up here and say whatever you want to. We don't care about facts. We're not fact checking anybody. She literally said, the guest literally said, there's an Israeli deal on the table. It was not a deal. It was a non-starter. What they were asking for was complete obliteration. Like it was ridiculous. So I think the fact that we are obligated to say that if we push back on Netanyahu or Zionism, that we are anti-Semitic, and the tying of that is the most successful thing that these folk that see the world like Benjamin Netanyahu do, and some of the people in his cabinet, these war dogs who want to just kill everything in Palestine and Gaza and act as if we're supposed to deal with it. But I'm going to keep saying this until people wrap their head around it. America is infinite amount of times larger than Gaza and Palestine is. Infinite. And they have almost lost as many people as we did in Vietnam over the entire war in that little space. And that is not indiscriminate. That is not going after Hamas, because you are killing minimal people that are attached with Hamas. And the idea of what people are doing is in the comment that Bree posted, the negative, nasty comment that they said Palestinian effed around and found out. Palestinians did not. It was Hamas. The majority of Palestinians didn't even vote for the Hamas government. 23% of people voted for them to be in government. So this idea that you are at war with Palestine is the problem with the way that they're handling this war.
That's right. And it is an intentional conflation to make people believe that they are the same, and they are not.